Yo, Boom, what's happened? It's the... What's happening? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles live. Here we are in New York City with Will and Murph from the Car Bomb Parade. It's going to be an exciting show today. Welcome everyone from around the world. Here we go. What's happening? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles live. Often imitated and never duplicated. What's going on, everybody around the world? I don't know about you, but I'm super excited about today's show. Stand back. It's time for the professionals to get busy here. I'm excited about this one. What's going on? I see the chat room blew up before the show even started. What's going on out there, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. We have a great show today, rich in not only New York history, but New York punk folklore. So we're super, super excited about that. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, Your Core Hardcore Fan Page, the Texas Silver Rush, and Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards. Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards is located in Lakewood, Colorado, is the Rocky Mountain headquarters for all things punk, hardcore, and metal. Established in 2014, they have the largest selection of records, CDs, shirts, stickers, patches, and accessories between Chicago and Los Angeles. From the pit to the ditch, they got your back. Get in touch with them at www.chainreactionrecords.com. That said, just a reminder, coming up on the Shizzo. Next up on Wednesday is the return of the one, the only, the international superstar himself, Danny Diablo. So always a great time with Danny Diablo. Everybody come by for that. And then a week from today is the People's episode. It's the People's Choice Show. We're going to bring a lot of our patrons on. We also have the band Reaching Out. Some teenagers from New Jersey are going to come on the show and talk about what they're doing. So that's a week from today, the People's Show. So everybody got to be a part of that. What's going on out there? What's up in Canada, Grant? Hope you're well. Hey, Jamie. Good to see you, buddy. Jamie Sharappa from SSD Control. My man. Good to see you. What's up? What's up, Pugsy? Hope you're well, buddy. What's happening in Denmark, Steen? Hope you're well. What's that in Florida? Yo, checking in from Florida. You and me both, bro. How's Florida treating you? What's going on in France, Laurent? How are you? What's up, Federico? Hello to everybody. So that said, just get out of my way today, all right? Just get the fuck out of my way today. What shirt am I wearing? Oh, we're the Rapone shirt. There you go. That said, let's bring Steven Messina on. What's up, buddy?
What's up? How's everybody doing? I'm good. I'm excited.
I'm Drew.
This is big.
I'm Drew. Pleased to meet you.
You know what? I was thinking about it. This is like the punk rock equivalent of getting Peter Grant on.
Yeah.
You know, you think about it.
For sure.
You know, I'm excited about this. I really am. And before I forget, I just want to shout out Rich Zoller, one of the amazing hardcore photographers in our scene. Right there. And I was at the Empire State Building yesterday, and there's a giant picture of his hanging inside the Empire State Building right by security. And I got to see it, and I thought it was really cool, and I was really proud to say, I fucking know that guy. So that one's Rich. Awesome.
Looks like, what's that, a Forest Hills shirt you're wearing?
Oh, yeah, I got my Forest Hills. This is my Forest Hills Ramones shirt from the Ramones, they did the exhibit at the Queens Museum.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was so cool.
Yeah. I saw our guest today. I saw him there. He was there quite a bit. So that said, let's keep it moving and grooving.
Let's roll.
Let's roll. Photo of the day. If anybody out there, here we go. Steven Messina, Hardcore Shutterbug, photo of the day. Bam. All right, let me see what we got here. All right. Okay, I think I know who this is. Let's see if anybody else comes up with. Come on now. Here we go. Sid the Kid, you can't guess, man. Nick Black Sabbath says Joan Jett, but hold on. Oh, well, look. Joan Jett, JJ. That's not John Joseph. Joe Jett. Yeah, okay. So, well, Joan Jett, I mean, I don't know how new this is, but it looks like she's still playing that same guitar.
Well, this isn't that new. This is approximately 96, 97 right here.
Right.
And
good one. Damien got it. Pete from Sick of It All. Good one. And we have a winner.
Oh, that's funny.
That's awesome.
Right.
Give us sexy Joan Jett.
Okay. I think she looks great with the short blonde hair.
Hey, sure. If you were a gay woman, I bet you
do. This was at a place called the Spy Bar in New York City, and it was the record release party for an album called We Will Fall, which was an Iggy Pop tribute album that came out on Royalty Records. And she performed that night, and Joey Ramone performed that night, as well as a band called Nada Surf. And it was great. And she was, this was like a big deal at the time that she had cut her hair and everything. And, but she just, I think she just celebrated a birthday actually this past week, as a matter of fact. But she was great. She's always been, I've seen her over the years, a bunch of times.
She always brings it.
I mean,
I saw Joan Jett play in like 1980 or 81, and she was great. She always brings it, man.
Yeah, she's like, pretty much timeless when it comes to just the attitude.
Whoa, what did I just do? I'm okay. Is that what that is? A Gibson Melody Maker? Is that what she plays? Is that what that guitar is?
Oh,
all right. Here's a couple of the good ones. Young Wendy O. Williams. I like this one. Billy Idol, but Billy as in Billie, like a girl's like a Billy Idol.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh shit. Let's see. Ashley, I love her. She is a babe of rock and roll. She don't look bad here. I think short hair, she pulls it off. Okay. Good.
Absolutely.
Wendy O'Rule, everyone's chiming in. She's a resident of Long Island. Is that right?
For Long Island representing.
Yeah, I always thought it was a weird guitar too that she played. But I think it's very lightweight, and for a physically small person like her, probably a lot easier to carry than like a Gibson Les Paul that'll basically, destroy your shoulder after a couple years.
She's pretty much played the same guitar like since day one, right? I mean,
yeah, it's a Gibson Melody Maker. Apparently, she has 20 of them.
Wow.
Yep. All right. Cool.
Thank you.
What else we got while you're here, man?
What else we got?
Yeah. While you're here, let's talk. Let's get up a couple of the other shows.
Yeah.
Let me see. While we're here, real quick, after the People's Show, we have Dino from Fear Factory, right?
Yeah.
That should be cool. Dino, as I used to call him back in the day. Dino from Fear Factory. And then after Dino is Chris Wren from Bridge 9.
Nice.
Who I'm a big fan of, who's a great guy and extremely knowledgeable music historian. And then after Chris Wren is the Machine himself.
Oh, that's going to be awesome.
Yep. Yeah. Armand, we're psyched for Armand. So there you go. All right. Cool. anything else? It's Sunday shout out. You want to shout anybody out?
You know what? I'm gonna shout out the Car Bomb Parade. I've been talking to Nikki and Murph the last couple of days, and just excited about everybody making new music and getting through this. Getting through everything. Davey Hooligan from Enziguri, the guys in Kings Never Die, all of our friends. I'm just excited that everybody's been keeping busy. Dead Blow Hammer, us and everybody. Like, I don't think anybody's let the pandemic weigh them down at this point. Everyone just kind of dug in and started creating, and I think that once the gates open, everyone's just going to be raring to go.
Yeah, I think also things are opening up a little bit finally,
Oh, I think so too. And
right.
yeah, I'm excited, and I'm excited for the show.
Well, you're Queens. You work in Queens
every day,
and our guest is a Queens guy. So we'll rendezvous back here at the end of the show.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
Well, there you go. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, Texas Silver Rush, Your Core Hardcore Page, and Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards. The Organic Grill is a vegan restaurant located in the East Village of New York City at 123 First Avenue, featured in New York Magazine, New York Times, and Veg News. Hey, man. Their dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Veggie Burger. This award for Best Veggie Burger, goes to Organic Grill. Oh my God, I didn't see this coming. Wow. I just want to thank my agent, and they make their own cheeses, sausages, and burger patties, and every dish on the menu can be made gluten-free. This year, they're celebrating their 20th anniversary, and they're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing, clean food. After 3 months of being closed, they're now open for deliveries. Get in touch with them and order some great food at www.theorganicgrill.com. Also, the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live merch is now available. Don't say I didn't warn you. We got a lot of cool stuff. We got the New York Hardcore Chronicles shower curtain, the doggy hoodie, we got the mug, we got the socks. I tried to make stuff that, everybody's got the baseball cap and the t-shirt. We got the girls' yoga pants, the yogurt pants for you gals. You guys can wear it too. We also got the pillow. The New York Hardcore. Where is that? Hold on. Let's find that. And you know what you could do with the pillow, right? And you know why this is a very important item here. The pillow. There it is on the bottom there. The New York Hardcore logo pillow. Just in case. Help me help you. I'm trying to help you here. Rubbers. Don't have rubbers yet. Who uses that word rubbers? Is that still used? Hey, you got a rubber? Who the fuck uses that? Hey, you got a rubber? What is this, Saturday Night Fever? Pillow biters. Hashtag pillow biters. Oh, your kid is watching with me. Your kid is watching with you, Pete? Listen, Junior. I use bad language on this show, Junior. Get ready. Yeah, the doggy hoodie. There it is. There's the link down there. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Check it out. It's on. A lot of cool stuff. The phone case, the blanket, the mug, the hoodie, the tote bag, the towel, the socks. Just a couple of items. Kind of a soft launch here for now. The New York Hardcore Fleshlight. Yeah, we're not there yet. No, actually, the New York Hardcore pillow can be used to smother somebody. Can be used. If you want me to help you, I'll make a flamethrower. The New York Hardcore Chronicles flamethrower. Okay. That's good. That's a good item to send through the mail these days. Yeah. There you go. That said, also, while we're at it, For those that don't know, there is a Patreon page, and there it is. That is how you can support this show. I want to shout out somebody that came on early in the show, Ashley Wheatley Bradford. Welcome aboard, Ashley, and thank you for being a patron. I appreciate it. I really do. It's your support, not to sound corny, but it's your support that enables me to spend the hours that are needed to put the show together and do all the research. That's the truth. I want to shout out some of my other patrons: Slimy Slim, Danielle Latouche, Mike Marino, Danielle Latouche, the Tush. Do they call you? Is that your nick, the Tush? Danielle Latouche, aka the Tush. Mike Marino, David Schaefer, Gregory Ivany, Little Freeman, Felix, and RDA Ken. Thank you all. There's the Patreon page. Please support this show. Shit doesn't magically happen, or else I'd be here putting spells on people all day long. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ compels you. The power of Christ. So, yeah, support the show. Charlie Crespo, what's up, brother? How's the Lower East Side, man? Love you, Charlie Crespo. A real music lover right there. Uh-oh, Matthew Melnick tuning in. Matthew Melnick tuning in because there's another Melnick on the show today, right? There you go. So, hey, Ashley, once again, thank you for your support, man. Thanks for being a patron. And also, we're heading out on the Drew Stone Cinematic and Music Walking Tour in a couple weeks. You people that are up on that tier, you know who you are. We're going out. We're doing it in a couple of weeks. So there you go. Let's clear the deck. Let's bring on our guest. Enough of this chit chat. Let's get down to brass tacks here, huh? Let's clear the deck. Jesus Christ. Hold on. Hang with me. There you go. One more and we're there. Boom. All right. Here we go. Let's bring on our guest. Let's have some fun. Today's guest is an American musician and author hailing from Forest Hills, Queens, in New York City. He's best known for his work as tour manager for a band that changed the face of modern music, the Ramones. Let's be frank here for a second. Let's throw the script out the window for a second. If it wasn't for the Ramones, none of us would be here right now watching this show. None of us. He was the band's tour manager from their 1974 CBGB debut to their final show in 1996 at the Palace in Hollywood. Today's guest saw it all. He's the author of the book, On the Road with the Ramones. Please welcome, Queens, New York represent, Monte A. Melnick. Montala.
Yes, I like that. Tish and Snooki and Handsome Dick Manitoba calls me Montala.
Listen, Handsome Dick Manitoba, another rock and roll Jew, so.
There's a few of them out there.
Hey, let's just jump right in. Speaking of which, there was two Jewish guys in the Ramones, right?
One really, Jeff, Joey.
Well, what about
and Tommy? Yeah.
Tommy's parents were in
Yes. Tommy and Joey.
Concentration camp.
Yes, you got me there.
All right. So were you born and raised in Forest Hills?
Yeah, I grew up in Forest Hills, went to Forest Hills High School, Halsey Junior High School. That's where I met Tommy in junior high school.
Hold on. You know what I got here? Hold on. We'll get to this in a minute, but my stepmother went to Forest Hills High School as well, and this is her yearbook.
What year is that?
64.
Oh, wow. That's way back.
Yeah.
I graduated 1967.
And
Tommy also.
I have a shot of you and Tommy.
Oh boy.
It's actually a really nice shot.
From the yearbook?
No, I saw that one. No, this one here. This is
That's 1968. We were in a group called Triad, a three-piece group, kind of like Cream and stuff like that. That's when he asked me to be in a group with him and play bass, and I picked up the bass very quickly, and we were in a three-piece group. Those are the days. I wish I looked like that now.
Listen, you're winning. You're winning with the facial hair there. Hey,
yeah.
Was Tommy playing guitar?
Yeah, Tommy's always a guitar player.
Crazy. And I saw later on he was doing a bluegrass thing.
Yes, he called alt country bluegrass group called Uncle Monk later on after the Ramones retired and all that.
I mean,
and he played a lot of instruments then. He played the mandolin, the violin, the dobro, all sorts of instruments. He's a very good musician, but he basically was a guitar player. In 1966, I saw Tommy and Johnny in a group called the Tangerine Puppets.
Right.
There's a picture of that in my book. In a talent show in Forest Hills High School, I saw them first, and Johnny was playing bass at the time, and Tommy was on guitar. And I saw them. I love
that name. I love that name. That was like during like the chocolate wristband and like the strawberry alarm clock.
Yes,
right?
yes. Those are the years, 1966.
That's right. Growing up, though, I mean, in Forest Hills, I'm just wondering because I was born in Forest Hills.
Oh, really?
I was born in Booth Memorial Hospital.
Oh, nice.
The first years of my life were spent in Forest Hills. So a lot of people don't know this. Drew Stone, born in Forest Hills. Just like
to be born.
Just like the Ramones. But I always wonder, like 1966, the Summer of Love, you guys were in Forest Hills. I mean, what was the vibe of the Summer of Love in Forest Hills? And
well, they had their band together. I was up in the audience watching this great group. They were very good. Play the talent show in Forest Hills High School.
Now, was that
actually the Summer of Love? I think it was 1969. I went to Woodstock, by the way. I was at Woodstock for a couple of days.
Wow, that's another show. Now, so Tommy and Johnny were in the Tangerine Puppets at that time,
yes.
And Joey was in Sniper, right?
Yes. Later on, I think later on than that.
A little bit later on.
Yeah.
And you as a bass player, you went on to do your music thing, right? You were in a band called 30 Days Out. You guys had a deal on Reprise and so on and so forth, right?
Well, actually, Tommy, after I was very good friends with him in junior high school and high school, we went in a lot of classes together. I became very good friends. There's another hair band there. But Tommy told me, he said, "Why don't you come up, pick up the bass, and we'll form a group." So the first group I formed in 1968 was that picture there. Was me, Tommy, and a drummer called 30 Days Out. It was a three-piece group. So I picked up the bass pretty quickly. Later on, I got into a group called 30 Days Out, and two albums on Reprise Warner Brothers Records. We toured with Beach Boys and Quicksilver Messenger Service. That's later on. That's afterwards.
Okay, go on. I'm sorry.
This is a group called Butch. Now
I was wondering about that because you sent me this photo and it said Butch on it. I'm like, is that the name of the band?
Yeah, this is the transition between glam rock and punk rock.
I'd say, huh?
We were like looking at Slade, groups like that, and then the New York Dolls. Look at our shoes, all platform shoes there with the suspenders.
I like Tommy's look. Tommy's look.
Now that's Jeff Salin next to me. That's Jeff Salin from the Tough Darts.
Oh wow.
He was in the group with Tommy. That's Harry. Harry went on to play with the Sick Fucks. That's Tish and Snooky's band.
That's right, of course.
And so this is after 30 Days Out.
And let me just say also, the Tough Darts is Robert Gordon.
Robert Gordon, great band. I mean, Jeff Salin was a terrific guitar player, really great guitar player.
Tough Darts were great, man. I love. Robert Gordon was great. I love Robert Gordon.
Now this group was after I came back from 30 Days Out. Tommy said, "Let's do another band together." So we formed this band. It was on the cusp of the, as I said, the glam rock, punk rock movement. As you can see, we got the satin pants there and the platform shoes. We saw Slade at the Fillmore East and all that stuff. We were very heavily influenced. An interesting fact about this band, we played the Mercer Arts Center the day before it fell down. Do you remember the Mercer Arts Center? Remember that? It was in vinyl, I think, that show.
the Mercer Arts Center was the infamous stomping ground of the New York Dolls.
Yes, yes. We played there the day before it fell down with that group, Butch.
Wow.
Actually, Johnny saw us there. And Johnny was always ribbing Tommy about, well, I saw the band. Monte was the best part of the band, you know.
Now this is you guys put out a couple of records.
Yes.
I mean, was there? I assume you guys were signed to a major label.
Yes, 1971, 72. 71's the first one with the Ship. 72 is the second one. Reprise, Warner Bros. Records. Yeah, we toured with the Beach Boys, Quicksilver Messenger Service, Tom Rush. Wow. Yeah. It was a country rock band.
I listened to some of it this morning. I liked it. It was cool.
Oh, good. You're a country rock fan.
And you guys,
in those days, I was listening to Poco and the Flying Burrito Brothers and stuff like that.
Now there was a cool. I saw there was a cool marketing thing you did with the record, like in a poster or something.
Yeah, well, you see on the left there's a ship there. That's a poster of a ship that came off, and you showed the picture of us underneath. That picture of the other picture you showed that was underneath that. Yeah, it was a little poster you could take off and put it up on your wall.
So, in high school, you were close with Tommy.
Tommy, basically, yeah.
But peripherally, of course, Johnny was playing with Tommy, right? Playing bass with Tommy. Mm-hmm. And then, at what point do these guys kind of start coming together as the early sort of Ramones? At what point does that start gelling?
Well, my cousin Ivan was a locksmith, and he was putting in a lock in a loft on 20th Street. And this woman said, you know, anybody interested in building a studio here, a rehearsal recording studio? So he got in touch with me, and I got in touch with Tommy, and we redesigned the place, built the place, and got to manage our own particular projects in the studio there. I had my own bands at the time, and at that time, Tommy came in. He was managing the place, but he brought the Ramones in as a three-piece group. It was Joey on drums and Dee Dee playing bass, singing, and Johnny on guitar. He just wanted to produce the band at the time. He wanted to manage and produce the band at the time. That's how he got involved with the rest of the band in studio there, performance studios.
And this was you worked at performance studios, right?
Yeah. Well, we managed. Both of us. We built the place, and then got to manage it and got our own free time in there. I had my own groups at the time, and Tommy was at the time he was working as an engineer in the recording, the record plant. I think he was an assistant engineer with Jimi Hendrix at the time.
He worked on Band of Gypsies.
But he just wanted to be producing and managing at the time. He didn't want to be in a band at the time, so he brought the Ramones in.
As a three-piece.
As a three-piece, and Dee Dee was having a problem with singing and playing bass, so he pulled Joey up. He's heard Joey had a good voice. He pulled Joey off the drums, and they started looking for drummers. At that time, they were so raw, nobody could understand what was going on with the band. I didn't understand them either at the time. It was very raw. If you see some interesting videos of them early on, they're like fighting and they didn't have it together in the beginning, but no drummer could understand what they were doing. But Tommy, being a very good musician, sat down on the drums and tried to show these drummers what to play. He was a guitar player, not a drummer, but he developed that style. And they said eventually, join the group. So he joined the group.
Well, yeah, I guess it was born out of necessity, right? He's showing everybody what to do, and finally they just said to him, "Why don't you just fucking do it?"
That's it, exactly. No drummer can understand what they were doing in the beginning.
I mean, to me, it seems that in a lot of ways, Tommy was sort of like he's the unsung hero in all this. He's the one that really put the pieces together early on that really enabled it to be, what it became.
I would say he's the architect of the Ramones.
Yeah.
He really put together a package for promo package to send out to managers and record companies, and was involved in doing the demos with them and getting them together and putting the group together as pulling Joey off the drums,
Yeah. And so as far as I could see, their first show was March 30th, 1974 at Performance Studios.
Yes.
And what was that like? You sort of like get in the big room and invite all your friends?
Yeah, it was we did showcases there in the beginning. A lot of times studios you can do showcases. You book the studio and you send out flyers and then you bring people in and fans and try to get record companies and managers in to see the groups. And then at that time I was running the sound for them on those showcases.
At what so at this point they just started playing. We've all seen the early footage at CBGB's where they're sort of fighting on stage, and I mean it's great. It's like one guy says let's play this, the other guy goes I don't want to play that, let's play this.
It was raw in the beginning. They really worked very hard. I mean, in the beginning years they worked through all those problems,
Yeah. Was there a point early on where you personally felt like, wow, these guys are doing something unique and special, and this could really happen?
Well, what happened was I was doing all the sound for them in these showcases, and a couple of times they would play CBGBs that come on the sound for us there, and then the studio had to close because the neighbors around us shut us down. But they started getting a lot of jobs here, there.
Right.
So I jumped ship. I said, okay, I'll start working with you guys, doing everything in the beginning, like shoving the equipment, setting up the equipment, driving, doing roadie work and stuff. So I worked my way up. And so at that time, it was interesting, getting out of New York and playing in different cities and stuff like that. So I found it was it was a good transition for me.
I want to put a picture up here. This is of course. There's a lot of Ramones pictures. I have a lot of them in my file. This is one that I used. I think I used this one in my film, Who the Fuck Is That Guy? The Fabulous Journey of Michael Alago. This was taken by Danny Fields, who's in the Alago film. And I love this picture. Part of the reason is because where it's shot. Do you recognize where this is shot?
Yeah, I think that's behind CBGB's, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the old alleyway.
The alleyway. That's a perfect punk rock picture there.
I love it, man. But to me, this is a great picture of the early Ramones. And I guess you guys early on, you guys played CBGB's constantly, right? Because we talked about like you're either a CB's band or a Max's band, and the Ramones were a CB's band, right?
Well, they did play Max's, but CB's I think about over 60 times.
Wow, that's a lot.
They did play Max's once or twice, though.
Yeah. Now, one thing that so you guys, how long did it take before the Ramones got signed?
What did it signed in 70? About a year they were working together, working on they worked very hard. They rehearsed a lot. They
got signed, Seymour signed them to Sire, right?
Yes. And then Linda Stein, his wife, was the manager with Danny Fields in the beginning.
Right. And so the first record, did they go to, I know they went over to England to play. They played the legendary shows at the Roundhouse, right?
Yes.
And that's what this is. This is a great shot of Joey, at the backstage at the Roundhouse. Or actually, I don't know if it's backstage. I was reading the sign.
That's the backstage door.
Okay. I love how he's got a camera in his hand. Where are those pictures?
Yeah, Mickey might know. Mickey Lee.
Yeah, right.
So in 1976, they played two shows in England, Roundhouse and Dingwalls. And then they came back in 1977 with our big tour of Europe with the Talking Heads. And we played the Roundhouse again with the Talking Heads. But initially, the first time in 76, a lot of the bands like Clash and the Sex Pistols were hanging out. They also came back in 77 to see us.
Yeah, I have. This is a great shot, man. This is a great shot. This is at that Roundhouse show.
Yeah.
Now for our people out there, I'm not gonna. Obviously, that's Dee Dee, and on the far right is Paul Simonon. I'm asking my audience out there, who knows who's sitting in the middle there? So everybody can take a guess at that. Give that a shot. But so from what I've gathered as a music historian, when the Ramones went over there the first time at the Roundhouse, all these guys showed up. They were absolutely inspired by them. Guys from The Clash, guys from the Sex Pistols. And it's almost like a Johnny Appleseed thing, right? Like they come to town, they leave, and all these bands spring up.
That's what I consider the legacy of the Ramones, kind of like a Johnny Appleseed of punk rock and roll music, where they played all these small towns over in England and in Europe and in the United States. And all these kids saw them and said, hey, if they can do this, it's not that hard. I don't have to be Eric Clapton on the guitar or, great drummer or whatever. It's good songs, proficient playing. And they inspired a lot of bands. It's amazing. I think that's the legacy of the Ramones.
Absolutely. A couple of good maybes. It's Topper Headon, close. Paul Weller, close. Paul Cook, close. But Jamie from SD Control got it, and so did Lenny. That's Keith Levine, who played in the Clash very briefly, and then ended up in Public Image with our friend John Lydon. So that is Keith Levine when he was in the Clash. But yeah, I mean that's and I've read and I've seen interviews from the other end where these guys said the Ramones came to town and they inspired us.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can go back to my story about in 1996, we were on Lollapalooza tour. Headlining tour was Metallica, Soundgarden, Rancid, Ramones. So I'm put the Ramones on stage. They went on early, and I'm standing there, and there's Metallica, Soundgarden, Rancid. They're all standing on the side of the stage going, wow, we're fans. They were all inspired by the Ramones. In fact, we played Ohio one time, and Metallica's kids came backstage and said, hey, we're a group, we play, and we love you guys, blah, blah, blah. You got U2, for God's sakes, with the song The Miracle of Joey Ramone, unbelievable, Eddie Vedder, Pearl Jam, became a good friends of Johnny, and we toured with the Pearl Jam and stuff. So all these bands saw them and were inspired to, form groups. It's amazing. That's the legacy of the Ramones.
Absolutely. So the first album cost $6,000 to make.
Yeah.
And I saw an interesting statistic today that on April 30th, 2014, the first Ramones album went gold 38 years after its release.
Isn't that something?
Oh, that's what's behind you. That's behind you, right?
Yeah, there it is, right there.
Oh, wow, that's right. I'm sorry.
They gave me one.
Well, you certainly deserved it.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, they couldn't sell albums. That's why they were a touring band. That's why they played so many shows. That's where they made their money, on the road with the merchandising. They realized they couldn't sell a lot of records. What better to do? Play live all over the world.
Not to jump around, but we're going to jump around. I think it's interesting that, and I'd like to get your take on it, is that it's not as though the Ramones didn't try to break through to a bigger level, right? They always tried different producers. I mean, didn't they? They always really tried to break through, correct?
Yes, that's why they changed the producers so many times. They wanted a hit song. Unfortunately, in the United States, because of the Sex Pistols, a lot of DJs and radio stations wouldn't play them, So they kept on, maybe we'll do this producer, Phil Spector, maybe they'll play the record more,
Yeah.
All the Graham Gouldman, for God's sakes,
Yeah. And also, I mean, a lot of guys went through that producer door, right? Daniel Ray, Ed Stasium, and Tommy.
John Beauvoir.
John Beauvoir, right? John Beauvoir, he's an interesting character. Now Tommy Ramone co-produced the first 3 albums, right?
Yes. Well, initially he just wanted to produce them and manage them. So when he left the band, he's, before that, he's worked with them in the studio. Of course, that was his thing. He was an assistant engineer at the time, at other studios. So he was very knowledgeable about that.
Here's a question from Cody. Why didn't they sell albums? That's mind-boggling considering how influential they were. Now, I could answer that, but let's hear your take on it.
Well, at the time, the stations in the United States wouldn't play them. We couldn't get airplay. You don't get airplay, you don't sell. You don't sell.
Yeah, absolutely. And hindsight, it's really easy now in 2020 to kind of look back and go, how can that be? But at the time, what's interesting is that I was thinking today, and I grew up in New York City and was exposed to Ramones very early on. Like, I almost never really considered the Ramones a punk rock band. Like, just for my association, like my introduction to punk rock was like Sex Pistols and to me, the Ramones like owed more to like the Archies or the Beach Boys and that kind of stuff than sort of that like punk rock ethos. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they didn't like the name punk rock associated with them. I mean, they grew up listening to like the Bay City Rollers when they did they wanted a chant song like Bay City Rollers. That's why they did the Hey Ho, Let's Go. That inspired them.
Yeah,
and they're very poppy songs. If you look at the songs, they're pretty poppy. Yeah, they have hooks to them and stuff.
And it's interesting now. I mean, it's ironic and bittersweet, and I'm sure I can't imagine what goes through your head when you're at a baseball game or something and you hear the Ramones over the system and stuff. I mean, if only those guys could have lived to see that stuff.
They're on Jock Rock albums. How crazy is that? Jock Rock album. That's amazing, I mean, the Ramones are so big now. It's mind-boggling how big the Ramones are. I tell this joke 1,000 times. If the Ramones were this big when I was working for them, I would have gotten a big raise.
I love this photo here. This is just an early on one. I don't know who took this, but
Bob Gruen, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. There's a whole series of them, but I love this. They're standing. Probably what was the train? Is that the G? The GG out in Forest Hills?
Well, G and the F and the E.
Yeah, and I love this. I love how Johnny's guitars is in a shopping bag.
Yeah, he couldn't afford a good case for the guitar. He puts stuffs in a shopping bag. At that time, the Moser was like a $50 guitar.
Right. That's right. And yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so they, he wanted to carry it around, just stick it in a shopping bag,
Yeah. Here's our friend Ashley says, for me, the Ramones was the Beach Boys of punk and the Who and the Kinks. They definitely had punk attitude through and stage energy. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. People don't realize how poppy related song, they got songs there. It's not just like one thing. There's a lot of dimension to the Ramones songs.
I like this. If the Kardashians wear their shirts, they must be huge.
It's strange seeing who wears the Ramones shirts, and a lot of people wear them, don't know anything about the Ramones. That's the problem.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, I see that all the time. You see these rappers wearing like a Cro-Mag shirt, and you're like, huh? It's crazy. So that said, here's another one. I love this picture, man. I gotta post this one here, man. I love this one, bro. Boom.
Yeah, that's Hollywood.
These guys got it going on right here for sure.
Tommy and his belly button.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the little
That's Tommy. Up the block from the famous Hotel Sunset Marquis, where we stayed a few times in the beginning.
When you first went out to LA, were you guys well received?
Oh yeah, it was good. It was very good. We played the Whiskey and all those clubs out there.
The Roxy.
Yeah, the Roxy Whiskey. In fact, 1977, Phil Spector came backstage and saw the band and said, "Well, I love you guys. I want to work with you guys." There's a picture of him in my book in 1977.
Wow.
He looks like the devil with a cape and all that stuff.
He said it's interesting that the Ramones were on Phil Spector's radar screen that early.
Yes, amazing. Isn't that something?
How could that be?
I don't know. He liked them. And he worked with a lot of people, John Lennon and all sorts. He worked with a lot of different people.
It's a cool Ronnie Spector connection there, right? Because Joey and Ronnie performed together and were great friends. So there's some sort of a connection there.
Yeah, they became very good friends. I think Joey wrote a song for her, and very good friends. She's a beautiful person. If you get a chance, go see Ronnie Spector. Terrific, great singer still, good show. And actually, I worked for her a little bit, tour managing after Ramones broke up.
Oh wow! Well,
yeah,
I know. I think Daniel Ray plays guitar with her.
Yes,
still.
Daniel Ray was the band leader in the group there. It was really good.
Yeah, for sure. So at a certain point, 3 records into it, which, by the way, for me personally, Rocket to Russia was really my personal favorite, man. That record, I thought the stars really aligned. I love that record, Rocket to Russia, man. Did you think at any point, I know maybe with those first 3 records that, hey, this is going to be the one that's going to, was there ever that sort of like, this has got to be the one that's going to do it for us?
Well, it's always that way. Every time they put out a record, they all said, this is the one, and then they go out and tour. It wouldn't get any radio play. And then they decided to do another one with a different type of producer,
Yeah.
So they always, Joey's always, this is the best one out. This is the greatest record. And we love this one, and one after the other,
They were proficient, man. They did, I think, 14 records?
Yeah, I think 13 studio albums and a couple
14 albums in 19 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And 2,263 shows.
But give us a take on how, for any band to be that proficient, there has to be a certain amount of discipline. I've been around bands. I've been in bands. I'm in a band. I've had a career working with bands, and of course, I understand. Like, in order for a band to be that proficient, there has to be some sort of discipline. There has to be some sort of work ethic. What was behind the Ramones' work ethic? What was that about?
Well, they really worked hard. Johnny was a taskmaster. He would say, we do a tour, then come back, and then rehearse a couple of weeks for the next tour. Rehearse. He was behind all that. He's like the commander, the general. And before every single show, they would warm up. They had a little practice pad, a little amp, guitar, bass. Then they would warm up every single show. They go through a bunch of songs, and Joey would go into another room and warm up his vocals every single show. And when they were off the road, they would rehearse a couple of weeks before they went back on the road. So Johnny was behind all that. So they worked very hard. So
Joey did vocal warm-ups before the show.
Yes, before every show. He actually went to vocal teachers and stuff to work on his voice. People don't realize that. It wasn't such slop job, People say, the Ramones, 3 chords, it's easy, blah, 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 blah. That's what happened to poor Clem. Or Elvis Ramone, when Richie abruptly left the band, we were stuck there. They were stuck. They had a bunch of shows coming up. Now, Gary Kerfers was managing the band at the time, and Blondie was one of his bands, and they weren't doing anything. But Clem was a big, friend of theirs, and he knew them. We actually wanted to be in the Ramones. So Gary says, that's easy. Just go in there. Don't worry. You can play it, blah. It's easy. 3 chords. No. It wasn't that easy, when Marky came in the band, Tommy took a little time to show him what was going on, because Tommy developed that style of drumming, and Marky was a great drummer from Dust and Richard Hell and all that. And he came in. It took him a little while to get into the band. Unfortunately, Clem didn't have enough time, so he played a couple of shows. It wasn't great, but it was okay, But with the Ramones, any little blip that's out of sync, because it's boom, 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 boom. You hear that. That's the problem. He didn't have enough time,
Speaking of which, I told you that I have my stepmother's yearbook from 1964. And I was leafing through it today, and I find Gary Kerfurst.
There he is. Oh, my God.
There he is. And my stepmother penciled in
What does it say?
It says Gary Kerfurst, baseball team medicine. But my stepmother penciled in. She penciled in right there, Ramones Blondie manager.
Let me see this picture. Can you hold it up? Interesting. Very interesting.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, that's good.
I was looking through it this morning, and I came across that. And then I kind of put two and two together because he eventually managed the Ramones, correct?
Oh, yes, absolutely. He was, he's a promoter. He did a lot of shows. He managed Blondie, Talking Heads, B-52s, a lot of people he managed. Yeah. And he put on a lot of shows. I don't know if you remember at the World's Fair, the Singer Bowl. He put on a bunch of shows there. He was a very, very talented guy. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us either now,
Right. And he also was behind Radioactive Records, which the Ramones were signed to.
Yes. Big Audio Dynamite. He was
a favorite of mine right there, man. I love Big Audio Dynamite. So at a certain point, Tommy sort of says, "Hey, I want to do other things." How did that go down?
Well, yeah, it was grinding. I mean, we were playing on the road a lot. He didn't really want to. It was really hard on him, the road, because it's when you played show after show, a day, month after month, it was very hard. So he decided, this is enough for me. I'll leave, but we'll pick a nice drummer. He'll teach work with the drummer, and then he'll produce the band, and it worked out very well.
Was it amicable?
Yes. They knew he only had a specific time in the band. As I said, he didn't really want to be in the band. They said they couldn't find a drummer, said join the band, so he joined the band.
It's great, and of course, I guess at that point, they kind of look around who's in our world, and one of the guys from playing with Wayne County and Dust, which is a pretty cool band. Was Marky.
Richard Hell.
Yeah, Richard, right. Was Marky. I mean, you guys were friends with Marky.
The whole thing is that the early years of CBGB's, the only people in the audience was other bands. Clem was there, Blondie was there, Marky was there. All those people, that's the only people in the audiences in the early years of CBGB's. Yeah. So everybody knew each other. So they knew Marky.
And so Marky comes in. Marky comes in. You guys keep it moving. Oh, and you know what I wanted before that? I wanted to bring up somebody else. Now this is somewhat of the logo, but I want to bring up.
Well, that's the 8 Ramones logo. Somebody made it. Yeah,
it's somewhat of the logo.
It's usually just the 4 on the band. Whoever's in the group at the time, there's the 4 of them. But somebody made this. This is the 8 Ramones I work with.
Now, the guy who created the original logo was Arturo Vega.
Arturo Vega,
who was very close with Michael Alago, and sadly, he's no longer with us as well. And he's another one of the unsung heroes of the Ramones. Yes. Tell our people a little bit what Arturo's role in all this was.
People say the 5th Ramone. He was one of the. Actually, Mark's the 5th Ramone, and we're down in the line 9th and 10th. Me and Arturo. Arturo and I were the only people there from the beginning of the Ramones to the end of the Ramones. He's gone. I'm the only one that's alive that's from the beginning of the Ramones to the end of the Ramones. He was always there from the beginning at the Performance Studios when they were rehearsing. He was always there. He came up. He was a friend of Dee Dee's, and he was always there. And a huge Ramones fan. Loved the band. So I want to work with you guys. And initially in the early years, they couldn't afford to take him on the road. They said, you print some T-shirts, sell the T-shirts, make some money off that. That'll pay your salary, and come on the road with us. So that's how he initially started.
Wow.
But he developed that logo. He was the one behind that logo.
Which is sort of like a presidential.
It is the presidential seal. It's a great seal of the United States. And we were in Washington, D.C. at one time, and he saw that and said, this is great. Initially, the first Ramones, there's a whole chapter in my new book about the evolution of the Ramones T-shirt. The first Ramones T-shirt just had a name across it, And then it was a weird little eagle. Then they went to Washington, D.C. at the time. Arturo saw that logo and said, this is interesting. And he developed that. If you want to put that back up for a second.
Yeah, sure.
So he took So initially the Eagles holding like arrows in one hand and a apple branch in the other hand. So he changed the bat because John is a baseball fan, you know, and that's like supposed to be apples. Not, I think it was olive branch, but it's supposed to be apples in the other hand. And the middle stuff is off of his a logo. He had a T-shirt with those little arrow things, and initially said "E pluribus unum" on top, and so he put "Hey ho, let's go," and they put little arrows on the top. So he took the whole, seal of the United States, Great Seal of the United States, and developed that. And then he got into merchandising, and.
Why do I remember Arturo doing lights for them?
He was a lighting director. He came up on the road, sold merchandise, and then eventually when they could, have a lighting director, he came in and he was a great lighting director because he was a terrific artist. He had his own little art stuff, art thing going there.
And Arturo is the one who had the loft space around the corner from CBGB's.
Yes.
Right?
66th and 62nd Street, right up the block from where the Joan Ramone sign is now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that building is still there. The loft is still there.
Well, here's an interesting fact. That building's up for sale, $7.5 million. Anybody got some money, you can buy it.
For that dump.
Well, it's a good location, I'll tell you that now.
Location.
Back then it wasn't, in the middle of crazy Alphabet City and the Bowery and all that. But now forget it. It's all like yuppies and John Varvato stores and stuff.
Yeah, I do a walking, a music and cinematic walking tour in New York once in a while, and right on that corner, this is Joey Ramone Place, and then I turn everyone's head to Arturo's loft right there, and that was really, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Joey live there for a while?
Yeah, Joey, Dee Dee lived there. They rehearsed there a little bit in the beginning. He had a great, nice little loft, and that's where he initially printed up T-shirts up there because he had a big space. He could print T-shirts and hang them up, and then took them on the road, sold some, paid his way on tour, and then provided the money. And then he got into getting a percentage of the merchandising. I should have got my finger into that, boy, because that's big money.
Yeah, well,
that's big money. That's how they stayed on the road all those years of merchandising.
Crazy. It's hard to believe that they packed it up in 1996, man. I mean, it's a fucking lifetime ago. It's incredible.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So Marky joins the band and they do Road to Ruin, right? That's the fourth record.
Yeah,
right.
I think you got it. Yeah, I think so.
Or Leave Home? No, Road to Ruin was the fourth record. And then comes the Phil Spector record, right? The infamous Phil Spector record.
End of the century.
Yes. Which is pretty damn good sounding record, if you ask me. But I know there was a lot of drama, and people, Phil Spector, did he wave guns around and this and that? And listen, we all know what happened with Phil Spector. The guy had some issues. And he ended up killing somebody in his own house.
More than some issues. He had a lot of issues. I was there for all that session. He had a gun, like a ankle holster gun. He didn't really point it at anybody, but he was pretty crazy in the way he, the group said, wow, Phil Spector, a living legend. Let's work with him. They didn't realize how crazy he was in the studio. The Ramones like to work fast. The first album, $6,000. 2 weeks, I think they did it in. So they get into the studio with Phil, and Phil's like, do this over again. He would do crazy things, like he was wearing a John Lennon hat and a T-shirt, and he'd go into the bathroom and start drinking, and whatever he's doing in the bathroom, come out with a cape and a weird hat, and he would change his look, and he would make them do stuff over and over again, which drove Johnny absolutely bonkers, They actually had to sit down with him initially, with him and Seymour and a bunch of record company people. Says, Phil, look, don't calm down now. You got to take it easy, Don't be crazy, because, he wouldn't let people in the studio. there was one time we were leaving, and he comes up to me and says, "Give me the keys, Monty. Give me the keys. You can't leave. Give me the keys." He's threatening me. He didn't pull out the gun or anything.
Wow.
We had a couple of interesting incidents up at his house there, because to get into his house, you got to get locked in, locked out. So to get out, you got to unlock the door. So he wouldn't let us out for like hours and hours. We were held like captives up there for like hours and hours. It was bad,
I'm kind of surprised, knowing Dee Dee, the little bit that I knew him, that he didn't friggin' kill the guy.
No, Phil Spector had a bunch of guns on him.
Right.
Dee Dee claims he pulled out a gun on him. I didn't see that though.
Right.
Probably when Dee Dee was complaining or something.
Somebody said, our friend Lenny from Crazy 80 says, didn't the engineer have a heart attack during that?
Yes. Ed Stasium talks about that.
Wow.
He was very harsh on people. Do this. Actually, on that album, one of my the best. People ask me what my favorite Ramones song is. It's on that album. You have any idea what the song that is, Drew?
Well, it wouldn't be the obvious one.
Which one?
It wouldn't be "We Want the Airwaves."
No.
Hold on. Let me take a guess, man. Hold on. I want to take an educated guess. Hold on.
It's very easy for me. People say, "What's your favorite Ramones song?" I got that one. It's on that album.
And I'm looking. Let me see what. Well, I know it's not Chinese rock, because you're not an old dope fiend.
No.
Dan says,
you got to know the song. You got to know the song. That's the problem.
Oh! It has the line about getting the van with Monty.
Yeah, all the way. Actually, no, it's Monty's driving me crazy. It's like being in the Navy. So it's nice being written into a Ramones song.
Is that in Danny Says, that song?
No, it's in All the Way.
All the Way.
He talks about me and the Monitor Man, and I'm driving him crazy. So
All the Way, yeah.
Monty's driving me crazy. So right. I got the honor of being in a Ramones song.
High risk insurance, yeah. So wow, that must have been a whole ordeal, and that's one of the things that's gone down in folklore history, man, in punk folklore history, working with, because in a way, we heard about all this stuff way before Phil Spector's demise, and now the guy's sitting in jail for murder. Wow.
Yeah, he did it.
Yeah.
He used to walk around with bodyguards, they had guns, and he had his ankle holster, and he had the guns on him, and he's a gun fanatic.
Yeah.
And I think he shot his gun off at John Lennon's session or something, right? That's the story.
Yeah. So let me hang with me a second. Let me shout out my sponsors. Let me do a couple of things here, and we'll bring it back, and we'll do album of the week with Sid the Kid. All right.
Sounds good.
See you in a minute. What's happening, boys and girls? I hope you're enjoying this half as much as I am. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Core Hardcore fan page, which is a digital platform aimed at capturing hardcore punk bands in real time with up-to-date information on what they're doing now. Also, the page is focused on promoting and supporting bands, the venues, merchandise through the Instagram app on Your Core fan page. Check them out. Also, New York Hardcore Comics, our good friends at New York Hardcore Comics, opened back in 2013 when lifelong friends Debo the Pro and Lee Fairley combined their collections and obsessions for comic books, punk rock, toys, statues, magic, the gathering in all things horror. The store is located at 117 Main Street in Dobbs Ferry, New York. If you want to support them during this pandemic, please contact them via email at newyorkhardcorecomics@gmail.com or any social media channel. Last but not least, in the lovely state of Texas, the Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. That's what I need, man. I need some social media exposure. I got to ramp up my social media game. I don't know how much more social media I can do, man. Sucks the life out of you. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rolle, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. During this current pandemic, all information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, at www.thetexassilverrush.com. Make sure everybody go support your... Oh, my. Come on, this is a family show. I'm enjoying it much more than half. This one's awesome. I'm not sure what that means. Yes, Drew, great show. Well, thank you. And to think I was going to miss the show for stupid football. Well, thanks. I appreciate you sticking with us here and watching the show. That said, what else? What else am I forgetting? How about another show? How about this? Hold on, let me clear the deck here. I got something for you. Here we go. New show. Time to announce a new show. Here we go. Get your shoes and socks on, kids. It's right around the corner. Coming up, it's Toby Morse from H2O. Wednesday, October 28th, episode number 72. Toby Morse, H2O, Hazen Street, and One Life, One Chance podcast. So, by popular demand, we'll get Toby on here and we'll talk some straight edge Yang and a bunch of other stuff. So, Toby Morse coming up. Hi from Belgium. My new meeting all Sunday evening here in Belgium. Well, what's up, Ugo? Welcome. And all you other people out there that are lurking, it's Sunday shout out day. So put your shout outs in there, will you? Hey, Whitney, how are you? Matthew Melnick, what's up? How's Monte Melnick doing on the show, Matt? Okay. Trying to get, you Melnicks, Yes, Toby's coming up. There you go. That said, let me think. I want to make sure I got everything. Everything is everything. Once again, I want to remind you people that there is now a merch page for this show. Go check out the merch. There's a lot of great stuff, including, by popular demand, there is the New York Hardcore logo phone case, the blanket, the mug, the shower curtain. I know Ryan Ake from Bland just bought the shower curtain. Listen, you want to get naked and you want to be close to the New York Hardcore thing, buy a shower curtain. What can I tell you? Help me help you. There's a tote bag. How about the New York Hardcore socks? Who wants the New York Hardcore socks? And also the New York Hardcore pillow. Listen, help me help you. You know what you can do with that pillow, don't you? That's right. It's for girls and boys. All right? So check it out. It's Teespring. Let me put the logo on there. Let me put it in the chat room. Here you go. This is it. It's in the chat room. Go get it. Cut and paste it. Go see it. Go check it out. Lots of cool stuff. How about the New York Hardcore girls leggings? Boys can wear them too. Whatever. There's also a doggy hoodie. There's a couple of things. That's the new merch line. We're going to introduce yeah, there you go. Ryan Bland. That shower curtain is badass. That's right, man. There you go. So you want the Rat Bones wrestling figure? We're working on it. So there you go. Go check that out. And also, before we bring Sid the Kid back on, just a reminder, there's a Patreon page. You've got to support the show. Don't be a lurker. Don't be a bloodsucker. Support the show. All right? Help me help you. For those that can't wrap their head around the Patreon thing and say, I can't handle the statistical density of it all, there is a PayPal page. If I can only find it, there's a PayPal page. That's Stone424 at AOL. If you want to make a contribution to the show, please don't be shy. We could use your support. That said, What else? Oh, was kind of hoping to see Jim on some of those pieces. You know what? I haven't whipped Jim out yet. Man, he's in the other room. Should I go get him? I got to hide him from my dad. My dad will throw him out if he finds him. So there you go. Let's bring on Sid the Kid. What's up, Sid?
What up, Drew?
How you doing, buddy?
Oh, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful show.
It's a good one, right?
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
Rich in New York hardcore punk folklore. Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me get these banners off of here. Let me get this.
Where's my banner?
Oh yeah, wait. Boom. It's the Sid the Kid banner.
There you go. Boom, right there, guys. Shit.
You got to get yourself a little thing that we can put up, like one of these things, you know.
I did send you one of those before, Drew.
Steven has one. Rat Bones has one.
I sent you it months ago.
We got the Warzone one. We got the Arnie Stone one.
You got to go through the files,
Life
Drew.
of Agony.
It's in there, Drew. I sent it to you. Jesus.
I don't have it. Send it to me again.
I will. So,
you know. All right,
wait. Week.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm not saying it yet. We'll wait till we get Monty back on.
All right. Hey, Monty. Hey, buddy.
Hello.
All right. So, okay, Sid the Kid, album of the week. Let's see what you have here, Sid. I know you did your homework. You're good with this stuff. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, around the world, Sid the Kid, album of the week. Oh, okay.
Oh,
wow, this is an interesting cover that I managed to pull off the internet. It looks like it's signed by everyone.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of the images. Trust me, I tried to look for a decent enough image that were either really tatty, ratted out. This is the closest one I could find that was acceptable for the show.
Okay, tell us about this.
All right, guys. So yet another big gun had to get drawn out from the pile, and this one is one of the, obviously the first Stooges album, which features James Newell Osterberg, and you're wondering who the fuck is that? Well, it's Iggy Pop. So there you go. That's a quick little thing right there. The album itself was recorded in April of 1969 at the Hit Factory here in New York City and was released later on August 6th of the same year by Elektra Records. And the album was produced by John Cake. Now, even though you would think for this, you'd think it would be a bunch of songs, only 8 were on this record. And one of those tracks being 10 minutes. And you're thinking, oh, that's too fucking long. You also got to remember within, the late 60s, there were a lot of bands, doing the hippie thing, doing the garage thing. Well, this album itself, to me, could be considered a landmark proto-punk garage rock release. And at the time, it even peaked at one point at 106 on the Billboard 200. Mainly, even for 51 years later, this record is so timeless, it can't be downplayed by critics or anyone for any matter, or for the fact of that matter. Because just hearing 1969 as the first track, it's just going to be like that in-your-face wall of sound kind of a record, especially between the guitar and bass sound, which can be crunchy at times, but it just resonates so much. Even, like I said, to this day, for it being 2020.
I don't know if I registered that John Cale produced this record. I don't know if I...
John Cake.
John Cake?
Yeah, as a birthday cake. He actually, I looked up the information on this, Drew. For once, I didn't try to screw this one up.
It sounds like it was one of those things like, hey man, we want John Cale to produce this record, and the record company was like, you know what, we can't afford that guy, but John Cake is available.
Exactly.
Hey Monty, does this resonate with you guys at all?
Well, the interesting connection, the Stooges and the Ramones. Anybody know the relationship here?
I'll
give you a hint. Danny Fields.
Oh, right. Danny Fields was the publicist. Danny Fields.
He got them signed.
Got them signed to Elektra.
And he's a Ramones manager.
That's right.
There you go. 6 degrees of separation.
Danny Fields had a penchant for getting involved with these kind of bands.
Oh, he was great. His history in the music business was amazing. He worked with the Doors, Jim Morrison, and all sorts of different people.
Yeah. Wow. That's the connection. How did the Ramones feel about these sort of
loved it? Oh my God, they were influenced. They loved the Stooges. They played a few times with them. It was very nice. They got along very well.
And MC5 was another Detroit. Yeah.
Danny Fields also was involved with that. It's amazing.
Here, somebody says Johnny had Iggy's haircut. Somebody just posted.
It's a little similarity there. You could kind of,
yeah.
Maybe he was influenced by that. Who knows?
You know, what comes up a lot is some. Did the Ramones open up for Black Sabbath at some point?
Oh, that's a story. Let me tell you. You know, in early years, we went to different booking agents. They couldn't figure out what the Ramones were doing. You know. So they open up for this band, open up for that band. So they stick them on with the Black Sabbath, and that audience didn't want to hear anything. It was dangerous because they were throwing like hard batteries and coins and stuff. It was really bad. Another instance, they put them on in front of, and I think 1978 in a Toronto Canadian festival in front of Ted Nugent.
Oh.
And their crowd. They didn't want to hear that. So they were throwing food on stage, and there's a great picture I have. It's online where the Ramones at the end they're giving the finger to like 30,000 people.
Yeah,
that
photo is around the internet. It's pretty.
Isn't that great? Isn't that great? They're standing on stage, 30,000 people. They're going, "Fuck you guys, man," because they were throwing food at them. They couldn't figure out that. That's the problem with the booking agents. They couldn't figure out. There was one time they had to open up for Toto.
Oh.
The good thing about that is by the time the audience woke up, the Ramones were off stage, so it was okay, you know.
It Sid, by the way, it was John K.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, like in baseball, nobody bats a fucking 1,000. Everybody.
Listen, Sid, you're doing a great job. You really are. I'm impressed by the homework that you do and how you take it seriously. I actually enjoy. I appreciate the work you're putting in.
Hey, the work I put in DJing at Niagara. And everywhere I take that shit every day like it's a show. I take it seriously. It's not me just going this. I actually will take the time to say, all right, what am I going to play? What's next? What's this? What's that? I play to the crowd, just like how, you know, when the Ramones, what they wanted to play, how they wanted to do it. It took quite a few years, but people started to, maybe in the 80s, people started to really get into the Ramones. Because in the 70s, besides their crowd, no one gave two fucks about that band. And now the Kardashians, the Ramones. What?
Listen,
they're bigger than ever now. It's amazing, you know.
Sid, listen, your new nickname is John Cake. All right.
I'll
talk to you later.
Wait. Here's another like 6 degrees. My co-writer, Frank Meyer, is working with James Williamson now from the Stooges. James Williamson.
He's okay. There's 2 left, right? Him and Iggy are the 2 that are still alive, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But Frank Meyer, great. He worked on me with my book. He's in the Street Walking Cheetahs. Did a great job with my book over there, and he's working with James Williamson in a band. How's that for like 6 degrees? You know.
There you go. Hey Sid, we'll see you in a bit. Okay.
Alrighty,
buddy.
See you, Sid.
There you have it. Sid the Kid does his homework.
Sid the Kid.
Man. So let's keep it moving here. We'll take some questions in a little while, but let's you know, a lot's been said about and listen, it's out there. It's no secret that a lot of the guys, there was a lot of conflict inside the Ramones, and the guys, you know, they were a fairly dysfunctional band, and I say that with love. Was it always that way from the start, or did things just sort of deteriorate as things went along?
Everybody's dysfunctional in a way, you know. No, they were friends in the beginning. You know, it only happened later on with the girlfriend business. You know, Linda, Johnny, Joey.
Yep.
But it wasn't as bad as people make out, because otherwise they wouldn't have stuck together. You know, they realized, don't fight. You go on stage. That's where they love you. Go, you make music, the Ramones music. Keep it together. Don't fight. You know, don't socialize. They didn't socialize at the end, Johnny and Joey. So that's why they kept it together for all those years.
And I know you guys traveled everywhere in the van. I used to see you guys. In the van constantly. You know, being like a New York guy in in that neighborhood. Where Joey lived on 3rd Avenue over there. And
9th Street.
9th Street and 3rd Avenue, right?
Yeah, 3rd Avenue, 9th Street, right.
And I remember seeing you guys in the van. My perception was, didn't you guys do a lot of weekends? Like you guys played like every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, right?
Well, initially we've used a lot of different vehicles. We had buses on tours before. There's a couple of shots in my book of buses that we had. The problem with the buses was it was very expensive, and you had to sleep on the bus. They didn't like to sleep on the bus, you know? So later on in the years, they developed a little system where they do sections of the country. We'd do like the West Coast. So somebody would drive a van out there. We'd fly out there, do like a couple of weeks up and down, and come back. Then take a couple of weeks off to the Midwest in the van, come back. But initially, we were in buses and stuff. But it's very expensive to go on tour with the bus. As I said, you had to sleep on it. I didn't like sleeping on it. They didn't like sleeping on it. When in Europe, we used buses too. We didn't sleep on the buses in Europe. So that's where the van tour type of thing came about in the States later on in the years.
I love sleeping on the bus, man. I love it, man. But that's me. It puts me right to sleep. I love sleeping.
That's good.
I love sleeping on the bus.
Well, they liked hotels and stuff, so it was easier for them.
So at a certain point, Marky's got a couple of issues. He leaves the band, and Richie comes in. And Richie was a really talented guy, right?
Oh yeah, great drummer. We worked with a lot of people. I think the Shirts, and other people, and he was hanging around also at CBGB's. They knew him a little bit. Somebody introduced him. Well, Marky left. Marky was kicked out of the band because he was an alcoholic. So that's what happened there. And luckily enough, Richie was around, and they got him into the band, and he worked out very well.
And Richie was in the band a pretty long time, and he wrote stuff, right?
Yeah, he let him write stuff and sing a couple of songs and stuff like that. So it was a very good transition there.
And then, what record? Subterranean Jungle he plays on. I love that record, man. Yeah.
There's an interesting the cover of that. It's an interesting little story that George tells to Bose. He's the photographer. They're in a subway car, if you notice, and there's the three of them, and then Marky's on the left, and in his own little window. He didn't know he was being kicked out of the group at the time, so they stuck him off to the side, not with the rest of the group. There's a little hint there on that cover.
Oh, I was wrong. So Marky plays on that record.
Yeah, Marky. Subterranean. Yeah. That
was his last record before.
Yeah, it's his last one. Yeah.
And then after that had Psychotherapy. That record came out in 1983 when the New York hardcore thing was really popping, and we loved that record, man. We loved that record. That record. Let me look. Who produced that record? Subterranean Jungle was Richie Cordell and Glenn
Kolotnik, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think he wrote some hit songs like Crimson and Clover or something, or Richie Cordell wrote a bunch of hit songs.
Yeah, that record was great, followed by Too Tough to Die, which was Tommy and Ed Stasium.
Yeah. They got them back together, which is great because they were a great team, Good old Ed. Hey, Ed.
Yeah. It's his
birthday today, by the way.
Today's Ed's birthday?
Yes.
I didn't know that. I'll send him.
Happy birthday, Ed.
I'll send him a text. So Richie's in for a while. Richie leaves. We already talked about Elvis for a minute. Clem Burke comes in for a couple shows. I think I remember he played the Ritz with you guys in New York.
No. He Clem or Elvis Ramone only played 2 shows. I think it was Trenton and Providence.
City Gardens?
Yeah, City Gardens and Providence, Rhode Island, the Living Room. You ever play there and know about that club?
I know the place, yeah. Sure.
He was at 2 shows.
I saw Black Flag there. Ooh. Yeah.
Nice club.
Yeah, it was a cool place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little getting to the stage. You had to go through the crowd to get from the dressing room. Same with the City Gardens. I think you had to walk through the crowd too.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, it's rough when people want to touch them,
So at what point did Dee Dee tap out?
It wasn't that 89, right? He's flaking out there for a while. He just was getting to the end of his little thing. He said, "I don't want to be in the Ramones army anymore." But then he started getting into rap music. So they said, okay, do an album, get it out of your system, do your rap album. They figured that would get him okay and stay with the Ramones. He did that album, if you're familiar with the album there.
Yeah, hold on. You know what? Speaking of which, hold on. Bear with me. For a quick second here. You're talking about... Some of our friends are in this clip.
Really?
Sammy Siegler.
Oh.
Been doing a pop and I'm still not tired. I'm never gonna stop because I like what I'm doing and I'm having fun. Here's some advice for everyone.
So Dee Dee took a shot at it as a rapper.
Yeah, he wanted to be a rapper. He wanted to say, do the album and get out of your system. Unfortunately, I tell this story a lot. One day we're flying down to Washington, and he shows up at the airport with his jumpsuit and gold chains. And so Johnny flips out. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're in the Ramones. You're not the rap guy. We're going to do a Ramones show. But he was on the end of his chain there. He wanted to get out of the group. And the last couple of shows, it was lackluster. He wasn't there. It's unfortunate. The only good thing about what happened there was, when Dee Dee left, I thought, well, this is the end. Come on, Dee Dee, the original Ramone, the songwriter, blah, blah, blah. What's going to happen? Johnny said, look, we'll find somebody.
I love that. I love that spirit. That's
well, Johnny was a worker. He's a general. He said, we're going to find somebody. They were 20 people they auditioned. The first person they auditioned was CJ. He saw something in CJ. The first person, yeah. Then we did a bunch of other people. And Johnny said, this is the guy. He was right. So what they had was like a young Dee Dee. CJ was a huge fan. He knew all the songs.
He was young.
Young. We called him Baby Ramone. And he would go on stage. They had to suck in their stomachs to keep up with him. He was like, he gave the Ramones a number of years. So they had the great CJ Ramone playing on stage. And then Dee Dee decided to stay and write songs, not stay, but wrote a lot of songs later on for the Ramones. So they had the great songwriter in Dee Dee and the young CJ. So it was great. So they lasted a number of years after that.
Dee Dee was a pretty proficient writer. He wrote,
God.
Wrote great stuff.
Oh, man. Everything he did like tons of stuff. Not one thing. He couldn't drink one drink. He had to drink the bottle. He couldn't smoke a doobie. He had to smoke the whole bag of pot. He couldn't write one song. He wrote 10 songs in a row. So that's the type of personality he was. There was many Dee Dees. That's the thing. Yeah. He was like multiple personality,
I know, man. He scared me sometimes when I would see him.
He could scare you.
Listen, when I would see him in the Lower East Side, when he was with Laura, I'd see him and yeah, you didn't know what towards the end, you didn't know what you were going to get. You hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Multiple good Dee Dee, the bad Dee Dee, the happy Dee Dee, the
angry Dee Dee,
the angry Dee Dee. Yeah, there's a lot of Dee Dees. I had to deal with a lot of them.
Yeah.
It was a handful.
Yeah. Let me think. So let me look at a couple of photos here. Make sure I as we head towards. I hate to forget. Here's a nice shot of you and Joey that I found. This looks like maybe towards the end.
That was actually the Coney Island High.
Oh, nice.
Got a little aura of Joey there, like St. Joey there, kind of, Wow. Yeah. Something's coming out of his head there. Wow.
Is this when the Ramones played Coney Island High?
Yes. That's a dressing room downstairs.
Oh, wow. That must have been some show.
Yeah. When they wanted to play Sea Beach, but Hilly didn't agree to what they wanted. So they went over. Good old Jesse Mallon, good friend.
We love Jesse.
Jesse's a great guy. Hello, Jesse.
Yep.
He had all these clubs, and they had one of the clubs at Coney Island, so we ended up playing there. And cause they wanted to do the last shows in New York, but then Johnny moved out to L.A. Yep. And at the end of the Lollapalooza tour, we ended up there. So that's how we ended up doing the last show in L.A.
Now, in all the years that you worked with him, did you ever miss a show?
Oh yeah, well I think I was there for about 2,200 shows. And after I started working for him, I didn't miss any shows. No.
Oh yeah.
No.
That whole stretch, you never missed a show from it for health.
Never
health or
no.
Nope.
Nope.
That's pretty incredible. Here's another photo that I just don't want to forget. You know, here's a nice one of Arturo.
Arturo, great Arturo.
And the guys, you know.
He was really they say the fifth Ramone, but well, you know, people say, "Hey, you're the fifth Ramone." I said, "No, I'm like the ninth or 10th," because you know, Marky's actually the fifth Ramone. If you want to be technical about it, you know.
Here's a message from our friend Steve Inamorita. Monty, I owe you some money. When the Ramones played their last 2 shows at Coney Island High, I believe you were collecting money and got distracted, so I walked right in behind you. Where should I Venmo you?
Very good, very good. Just buy my new book over here. Right.
Speaking
the bonus version, the bonus edition, that'll be fine.
Here we go.
On Amazon.com. That's the one. You got to get the one with the red Ramones lettering and it says bonus edition. That's the one that has 40 more pages. I go into a lot of different details and different stories that I added onto my book initially from when it first came out, and it's been out from 2004, 2000, you know, for a while.
I read the book when it first came out, and like you said, this is really the third edition. What inspired you to write the book?
Well, initially people came up to me and said, you know, do a book. And I really didn't want to do it while Joey was alive because, you know, I had to write certain things about Joey in there that I felt uncomfortable. So Joey passed away. But before that, Joey had gotten a deal on Sanctuary Records. And a good friend of mine, Kevin Patrick, hello, Kevin Patrick, and our guy, and he manages Matt and Kim and stuff like that. Sanctuary had a publishing company there, and they brought me into the Sanctuary, and then they said, okay, we'll do a book. And initially I said, I'm not really a writer, you know, so they said, we'll get you a ghostwriter. So a bunch of people came into the picture, but Frank Meyer came into the picture, a great person. He's in the street working cheetahs, knows a lot about the Ramones. So he started writing a book with me, and so I gave him co-author of the book. That's how it came about.
And Philip Oakey says, great book. There's even a version in German.
Yeah, well, it's out in 7 languages, the initial version. Not this one, though, unfortunately. But this is available worldwide. If you speak English, get this. This one is on Amazon worldwide. But my book is out. The earlier editions are out in 7 different languages. And German's one of them, yes.
Cool.
And by the way, in Germany, but they get to the Ramones Museum.
Right.
It's funny. It should be here in New York. The only place in the world there's a museum about the Ramones is Berlin. You should go visit it. A good friend of mine, Flo, owns the place. It's a really nice place.
And what would the Ramones Museum in Germany have that's really authentic and important?
He's a collector. He collected a lot of stuff from the Ramones.
But I saw the thing in Queens that had an incredible amount of stuff.
Well, yeah, he bought a lot of stuff when they initially that show went to the Grammy Museum in LA, and it was supposed to tour worldwide, kind of like the Bowie exhibit, you know.
Right.
But the internals of the Ramones Corporation, which are Linda and Mickey, fought, so they didn't want to do it, or something happened, so they broke up with the show. A lot of my stuff I put on auction, and there's a lot of Ramones stuff that goes on auction. So the guy in Berlin was a huge collector of Ramones stuff over the years, and he decided to open a museum. He's got a lot of original stuff over there.
He has a bunch of your stuff?
Yeah, some of it, yeah. I donated some stuff. And he also went online, and when there's a Ramones auction, he buys a lot of stuff. So
good.
It's a really nice place to go if you ever in Berlin. It's funny, it should be here in New York, but we're Ramones, New York, you know.
Yeah. But here we go.
If you're in Berlin, it's worth seeing.
Our friend Joe Ackerman down here in Tallahassee says the Queens Museum had a great Ramones exhibit several years ago. Terrific. Yes, Joe. Half the shit was Monty's.
Well, about 170 pieces. Yeah, it was like 4 different rooms. Yeah, it was. They did a great job. They really did. Mark H. Miller, was the curator of it. He did a terrific job putting it together.
It was a great show. I went a couple of times.
It was terrific.
It was really.
I think that was one of their biggest exhibits they had at the Queens Museum. Was that show? They had more people come to that show than any other exhibit they had.
There you go. I got a shot from it. I was there the opening night. It was awesome, man.
Yeah. It's like 3,000 people.
I think this is you.
Well, no, that's actually me in front of when I went to Italy. There was a festival in Italy. It's funny. It's called the Home Festival, and they had different stages. They had just one stage, a Ramones stage. So all day long, all these cover bands would play Ramones songs all day long. And they had people from different Ramones groups come in, and that was one of the fan clubs put up a wall of different Ramones records. So
it's pretty cool.
Makes a good picture with me there.
Reminded you of the Queens thing, you know?
Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah. And then I got this one also. That's cool.
That's the Roberta Bailey picture.
Oof.
If you look carefully at that picture, what Johnny's doing, I'm kind of doing the same thing.
Oh, giving the finger.
Yeah. Nobody realized that. Later on, years later, people look at it and go, what's Johnny doing?
Yeah. Great.
That's a great shot. Roberta Bailey, got to give her credit. She's a terrific photographer.
Awesome. So, you know what's really, so the last show that the Ramones played, they put the record out, Adios Amigos, which was like their swan song recording. And then on August 6th.
By the way, the back of that, the back cover of that album, if you look carefully, if you're familiar with it, you don't have the record there, do you?
I can find it.
Yeah, go find it. Yeah,
cover.
Yeah. Adios Amigos. Yeah, go find it while we're talking. By the way, that's a Kastabi picture in the front cover. Gary Kerfers decided to pick Kastabi. I don't know. I didn't like that dinosaurs, with Mexican hat. He picked that because he was picking covers for the album because they wouldn't give him merchandising money. So I said, I'm going to pick the cover of the album like an art piece so I can buy the art piece and sell it later. That's a Kastabi picture on the front. You got the back cover there yet?
I got it. Give me a second.
All right.
We make magic, man. We make magic.
Yeah.
Here we go. Boom.
Okay. Anybody look familiar on that back cover?
Let me see. Who looks familiar? Is that you with the sombrero?
That's me. Arturo wasn't available at that day. So wow. George Bose took this picture and said, I was the sleeping Mexican. That's a funny, I'm sleeping. They're getting shot. There's another little thing behind this picture. Usually when you face a firing squad, you're facing the gun.
Yeah, right.
They're facing away. They're saying we're facing away from the music business. That's what their little statement. So there's a lot of things going on in that picture there.
Well, if I remember correctly, there was a little bit of animosity towards the end there. They were really like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck you. We're done.
Well, no, they were just frustrated because, here's a group who opened up for them in the beginning of the Talking Heads, Blondie, B-52s. All these groups became super huge and sold all these records, and they're year after year changing producers, trying to get on the radio. It was frustrating for them after a while,
Yeah.
And Johnny figured that when he moved to LA and after the Lollapalooza tour, he said, I'll quit at the top of our game here. And Joey needed the rest, He was tired and he was happy. Marky was pissed off. He wanted to continue. And of course, CJ would have continued a number of years. So it really wasn't animosity. It was just Johnny saying, this is the end. Joey agreed. At that time, Johnny and Joey were the corporation. So they called the shots.
When they first broke up, did you feel that it's just a matter of time before they get back together again?
Well, always in the back of my mind, I said, maybe.
Yeah.
But it was pretty serious there. Johnny was saying, that's it. I'm finished with it. He sold his stuff. He got rid of his guitars, all his equipment. And Joey went on to do other things, producing his own little shows and stuff. Joey Ramone bashes, shows at the Continental and other places. I worked with him for a few shows with Joey,
Yes, some of those shows early on were very well received,
And then I worked with D-Generation a little bit, Jesse, I worked with them a little bit. I did a little stint with Ronnie Spector. Then eventually I found a nice job at the Hall of Science, New York Hall of Science. I was the audiovisual supervisor.
Is that the Hall of Science where the Ramones exhibition was?
No. That's in the same area, though.
Right.
It's at Flushing Meadow Park. So after I finished work there, I'd just hop over to the Queens Museum and hang out there, surprise people. The people looking at like stuff. I said, doesn't that look familiar? Look at that one. They go, oh my God, what are you doing here?
Right there. I think the 3 times I went, I saw you hanging out.
Yeah, because I was right at work right there. After work, I'd come over and like, hang out there,
That was a great exposition. You know, it's incredible that all 4 of the original members passed away so young.
Oh man,
it's unbelievable. Joey was 49 years old. Dee Dee was 50. Johnny was 55. Tommy, fairly recently. I mean, Tommy was a couple years older than those guys anyway, right?
No, well, Johnny was 48 and Tommy and I 49, and the other was like 50s.
Right.
Okay. It was horrible. I mean, just knowing that all 3 guys I worked with, especially Tommy, was a good friend of mine for 50 years. He got me into the music business. 3 of them died of cancer. Joey, lymphoma. Johnny, prostate cancer.
I mean, prostate cancer, if you're diligent and go to the doctor a lot, you could catch that.
That's the thing. No, Johnny was always saying, well, I eat great, I exercise, what the heck? But he didn't go to the doctor. By the time he went to the doctor, it was too late because prostate cancer is a silent disease. So once a year, guys out there, go to the doctor once a year. It's easy to fix if you catch it early. He didn't. He couldn't catch it early. Tommy was bile duct cancer. That's a weird one. I don't know how that. And Dee Dee died the rock and roll life.
Dee Dee went out with his boots on.
Yeah.
But Joey was lymphoma, right?
Yeah, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. That was a shame. Oh. The story was that one day, it was like New Year's or something. He went outside, slipped and fell and broke his hip. So to fix the hip, you had to get off the medicine you were on for the lymphoma. So he had to get off the medicine to heal the hip, and he was doing good on the medicine. He's okay. He was pulling through. Unfortunately, he had to get off of it, and it took over.
That's what happened. They took him off medication
because he broke his hip. The hip. He couldn't get on that particular medication. It was interfering. What a shame. What a shame.
Poor Joey, man. I mean, I'd see Joey out sometimes, and I know he had severe ADD.
No, OCD.
I'm sorry, OCD.
Yes.
I saw him crossing the street back and forth, and
that was a problem.
I saw. Oh shit! There's Joey, and he crossed the street and then went back again, and then
it was a problem.
I remember saying to myself, wow, something's wrong here.
No, yeah. Initially, in the early years, nobody knew what it was. I mean,
even then, when I saw it, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, people, and they're saying, Joey, what's going on? Please, and he was driving him crazy too. Later on, they found out about it, and he took some medicine for it, but he still had it. Actually, one time we were coming back from Europe. I drove him from the airport to his house, and he said, Monty, I got to go back to the airport, dude, and touch something. I said, okay, take a cab. He took a cab back to the airport, touched something, came back. That's how bad he had it,
Oh my.
Yeah.
That's like the thing. You pick him up at his house and take me home. I think I left my oven on,
No, yeah. I'd touch the door, close the door. It was rough for me because I had to deal with it. And they didn't realize, Johnny was pissed off. What are you favoring Joey? I said, look, I have to get him out of the, make sure he takes all his stuff on the road with him and stuff like that. He kind of thought I was like his private valet, but I was actually helping Joey because otherwise, if he didn't take the right stuff on the road with him, I had to go out and get the stuff. You know what I mean? So I was actually helping myself, helping him pack and get the right stuff. But getting him out, they'd sit in the van. Joey would take time to come down out of the house down to the van. Johnny was going crazy. Come on, what's going on? But eventually he realized what it was, but he didn't like it.
Did everybody have a designated spot in the van?
Yes.
Was it like, yes, it was, because I'm in a band. There's a certain arrangement, and if anybody breaks that, it could be violent. So
Johnny was very strict on that. He always had the co-pilot seat there.
It was
next
you,
to me.
It was you, Johnny.
Yeah.
Who was
If you look at the picture on my book, it shows you where they were.
Hold on, let me look. Let me get the picture up. Let me see. Here you go. Okay, looks like Dee Dee.
Because that's 8 Ramones, so you got to juggle
But it
around.
does look like Joey's behind you.
Yeah, he was back there. I mean, but Dee Dee usually sat in the back where Elvis is, because he liked to kind of smoke a cigarette every once in a while, which Johnny didn't like. He kind of opened the back window. But we stopped him from smoking, which is good. I didn't like smoking either.
Was there any pot smokers in that band? People smoke grass?
What, are you kidding me? Dee Dee?
Right? Yeah.
He was an insane pot smoker.
Right.
In fact, he would say to me, we'll go to Europe. He said, call the promoter. When I get off the plane, make sure I have my pot. Make sure I have my pot. The minute he got off the plane, boom.
Wow. So, I talked to my dad about this a lot, and my dad, in a certain way, a lot of the guys that he grew up with, he was in a crew called the Stallions, and in a lot of ways, there's like maybe my dad's almost like the last man standing, at his age, and really, in a certain regard, from those real early days, you're the last man standing. Arturo's gone, Dee Dee's gone, they're all gone, and me and my dad have this thing, there's no glory in being the last man standing. And I want to ask you, I know you loved all these guys, but is there one of them that sometimes really, really, really just you really, really miss in your heart?
Tommy and Joey. I miss them all. I mean, CJ was great and all that, but I got to, Tommy I grew up with, and he got me into the whole music business, Yeah. And over the years, later on, he left the group, so I kind of was out of touch with him. But later on, every year I go on his birthday, I take him out. On my birthday, he'd take me out. Yeah, there he is. That's 1968 Triad. And then Joey, I got to know very, very well because Angela, his girlfriend, my girlfriend Camille, was her sister. So I got him hooked up with Angela. So we were like a little family. We'd hang out together. I'd hang out a lot with Joey, so very intimate type of thing, like a family type of thing. And he would go to his mother's house for Thanksgiving and New Year's and stuff like that. And so it was nice,
Let's take a couple questions from people here. Let's see what we got here. And if you have any questions, now's the time for Monty. Put them up there. Please, no silliness. We don't really give a shit about the drama. So,
What about my Melnick relative there? Does he have any questions?
Yeah, what's up, Matthew Melnick? Come on.
That's
Melnick.
funny. That's funny.
Plays in Dark Side.
He's in a band?
Yeah, Matt Melnick. He's in a couple bands. Lenny says, I have your book. I read it. Love it when it first came out. Thank you for sharing. I'm curious what your relationship like between Mickey and Linda. I know Linda can rub people the wrong way. And are you still involved with the Hall of Science? I tried, Monty, I tried to stay away from the drama.
Between Mickey and Linda? No, they don't get along very well, unfortunately. So what happened was Joey passed away and gave the whole Ramones Corporation to his mother, and his mother gave it to Mickey. And of course, Johnny passed away and gave it to Linda. And they don't get along very well, unfortunately. It's a shame.
So when a Ramones thing happens, it has to go through both estates?
Yes, they're a corporation. Mickey, Linda, there's a corporation. So they fight, they don't agree a lot. In fact, the CBGB's movie that came out a while ago, Linda didn't like the way Johnny was looking in the movie, so she wouldn't let them put Ramones songs in it. Actually, in that movie, it's not a Ramones song, it's a Joey Ramone song in it, which is crazy. The CBGB's movie is without a Ramones song. It sounds like the Ramones, Joey songs, but, that's how crazy it got. And as far as the Hall of Science, I was there for 16 and a half years. I retired from there and then moved over to the Queen's Theater.
Right, that's right there. That's right.
Underneath the Queen's Theater, in-house manager there underneath those towers, the Men in Black towers. Unfortunately, now with the freaking pandemic, when's theaters going to open up? I don't think the whole of science is opened up either right now. Slowly, but it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah. Here's a question from our friend Chucky Brown from Crazy Eddie. Bruce Springsteen wrote the song Hungry Heart and wanted to give it to the Ramones to record. Is it true his manager didn't allow it?
Absolutely. 100% true story. Yes, it's in one of Springsteen's anthology albums. He writes about it.
Wow.
Here's an interesting thing. We were playing.
I did not know that.
Yes, he wrote it. Here's how it happened. We were playing Asbury Park, small club. So I put the Ramones on stage and go back to the bar, and I see Bruce Springsteen sitting there. I said, oh, well, maybe he'll see one or two songs and run out of the place, He stayed for those sets. So I walked up to him. I said, you want to come back and meet the band? He said, yeah, great. I'll come back. I brought him back. Comes in the dressing room. Joey says, because at that time he wrote that song for Patti Smith. So Joey says, why don't you write a song for us? And he did. He wrote that, but his manager wouldn't let him give it to the Ramones.
John, who's his manager? John
Landau.
John Landau. Very good. Mm-hmm.
So that's the true story behind that. And he's a really great guy. He loved the Ramones. Actually did some Ramones songs in some of his sets here and there,
I've seen him do that. I saw, he does these requests, like people in the audience, they put up a banner, say, I saw him do London Calling. I saw him do I think he did Blitzkrieg Bop.
Yes, he does. He did a few Ramones songs. Yeah. And Little Steven, he's a great fan of the Ramones,
Here's an interesting one from Dwayne Muncie. Why does it seem CJ was frowned upon? Always thought he was great.
Who frowned upon him? The band didn't. He had a big fan following. I don't know who frowned upon. He didn't initially when he came into the group. It was rough because people wanted to see Dee Dee, and there's CJ. So it had a little rough in the beginning, but he smoothed it out. He worked his chops and really filled in terrific. What a great job he did. It was such a pleasure having him on the road after Dee Dee was flaking out, and then dealing with Dee Dee and drugs and all this and that, and having CJ who was in the. There we go.
That's me and CJ.
All right. I like your outfit there. I like your outfit.
Yeah, man. CJ's a nice guy, man.
Oh, he's great. He's terrific. CJ's a wonderful. It was such a pleasure having him in the band because he was a Marine. He came, and so he listened. Johnny said, "Do this, do that." I said, "Come here, be on time." It was a pleasure. It's great.
Happy Jack says, Monty, how did you get them on Regis and Kathy Lee?
I was a tour manager. I didn't book them and show.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm not the booking agent. I'm just the wrangler.
But that was a weird show. Let me tell you, if you've ever seen that show.
Our friend Larry Kelly asks, Monty, do you still play music?
No, I retired a long time ago.
Okay. Fair enough. Here's an interesting one. Did the guys have interest, or were they fans of the New York hardcore movement, Agnostic Front, Cro-Mags, etc.?
Well, CJ listened to a lot of that music because he's the younger one. I'm sure Joey listened to some of that stuff. I don't think Johnny did.
I remember. Let me tell you about a couple times I saw the Ramones. I think the first time I saw the Ramones was in Central Park.
What, the Woolman skating rink?
I think that was 1980, 81.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
First time was I saw them at the Woolman skating rink. We used to come down from the Bronx. Of course, we couldn't pay to get tickets to get in. So back then, for those concerts, you could hang out in the trees or outside a little bit.
And hear it, yeah.
And you could hear it. I mean, that summer, I think, the Ramones played, Blondie played, the Talking Heads played, B-52s played. Those were fun shows.
A lot of people. That was a good little venue at the time.
That was too. You remember that? You remember that show?
Sure.
I mean, it's hard to. I mean, the Ramones, that's a pretty big place to play.
Well, yeah. Eventually, they got to play. They played the Pier, and they headlined the Academy of Music, and they had headlined a lot of shows in New York. Eventually, but then when they went on the road, sometimes they had to go back to these dumpy little clubs here and there. But they did a lot of festivals, and later on, they headlined a lot of stuff.
I also saw Europe. In 1981, when I went up to Boston and I got into the hardcore thing, me and my sort of clique of Boston skinhead friends went and saw the Ramones. They played Tufts University in the gym, and we went to see the Ramones in the gym at Tufts, and we got in there and we tore it up, man. We this is early on in the sort of the slam dancing game, and we got in there, like there was like 10 of us, and we went off, and I think we were stage diving, and we were ripping it up. And I remember the band was like, "What the fuck is this?" I don't think they were taken to the stage to the hardcore slam dancing thing, if I remember correctly, too well.
No, we know. We actually, you probably we had barriers because they didn't want. Johnny hated people on stage.
Yep.
So I always asked for very good barriers to keep security to keep people off the stage, because he figured it's his show. I didn't want people jumping on stage and being part of the show and all that. And also early on, when some of these club owners and promoters were seeing the slam dancing, they come to me and say, "Oh, what's going on here? People, what's happening? It's dangerous. Stop it." I said, that's part of the thing, that the mosh pit, the slam dancing,
Kids today.
Yeah.
You know what? This is Jamie from SSD Control, one of my old friends who of course was in that crew. He says, I think it was MIT, Drew. It might have been MIT,
If you go to the back of my book, I list all the shows and the year and the date. Probably list which one it was, maybe.
Yeah. Let me see what else. Another place that I saw the Ramones a bunch of times was L'Amour's. You guys played L'Amour's a bunch of times. L'Amour's East, L'Amour's West, this L'Amour's, that L'Amour's. Like the Ramones played L'Amour's a lot, right?
Yeah, a number of times. It was a good club, and they got paid well.
Yeah, and it's a local show. It's not too much hassle, right?
Yeah. That was the good part about it.
We don't have to go far in the van.
Right. Exactly.
There's
times we played Boston and drive back after a show. That was good.
I know that drive, man.
Yeah.
I saw one about the records. Hold on. I love these stories. So much fun. Well, thank you.
Oh,
we have fun. We have fun on the show. How did Lollapalooza come about? Upstate Rick asks.
Well, they always wanted to play that Lollapalooza. They never got the opportunity. And I guess Perry Farrell actually was in Jane's Addiction, was managed by Gary Kerr first.
Ah, that's right. You're right.
Eventually they got him to play because they really wanted to be on those shows earlier, and took them a while to get on the Lollapalooza show.
Here's our friend Sean McNally. With a name like Sean McNally, you better be from Boston. Ramones always packed the Channel Club in Boston, even if they played a couple times in the same year.
And Boston, remember the Rat?
Oh, God. You guys played the Rat?
Sure.
Oh.
Speaks for itself, right?
Oh, man. Yeah, that place was fucked up. Okay, let me see. Oh, yeah. What year did the Ramones play the Coventry in Queens? Good one.
I don't think they ever played the Coventry.
Coventry is where like the Dolls and Kiss played. I don't know if
Joey used to go there and watch the Kiss and all that. I think Johnny went there. Never played the Coventry.
Was there any sort of a connection or a mutual admiration society between Kiss and the Ramones? Did you guys cross paths ever?
No, I think they saw each other. I mean, they liked Kiss. I mean, they like Kiss, but I think Kiss, there's no mutual thing between them now.
On the song "Go,"
actually, years later, when I was playing music, I auditioned for a band with Peter Criss.
Oh, wow!
A little bit. So I met him briefly.
On the song "Go Little Camaro Go," on Halfway to Sanity, 1987, how was the experience in the studio with Debbie Harry? Were you around for that?
I wasn't there for that, but Debbie's a great person, good friend, was always around all the time, and was great. She's terrific. Love Debbie.
Yeah, her and Joey were very close, right?
Yes. Well, yeah. Well, as I said, the early years of CBGB's, the only people hanging out in the audience was the other bands like Blondie and people like that. So they got to know each other very well.
Do you remember when CBGB served chili?
I never touched this stuff.
Yeah, right. By the time I showed up, all that stuff was over.
Yeah,
They
it was
weren't.
because they used the dressing rooms in the back where the kitchen was and all that.
You know what's crazy? I look at these old pictures of like the Ramones playing CBs and people like sitting at tables and stuff, like watching the Ramones sitting at a table.
Well, they initially had tables up front there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is our friend Jamie from SSD Control. Once heard Little Steven based his radio show on the Ramones. He played all the bands that influenced them and all the bands they influenced.
As I said, he was a big fan. Good person, nice guy.
Yeah, nice guy. Absolutely.
That's a nice show. I think Marky's on one of his channels. Marky's does a Sirius XM station. I think underneath the garage. What is it? His
Underground Garage.
Yeah, his whole thing there.
Yeah, he also says he saw the Ramones open for Blondie in Vegas. That's interesting.
No, the other way around.
Yeah. Vegas.
I don't. The Ramones never opened up for Blondie. Blondie opened up for the Ramones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Blondie became huge, and we never bothered opening up for them. That's for sure. Johnny wouldn't like that.
Yeah. It's another thing that must have been really interesting is in 2011, the Ramones got a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. I mean, must have been pretty bittersweet, right? I mean, the guys were passed on by then, huh?
Yeah, and also the Grammys never gave them a Grammy. They weren't even listed for a Grammy. All of a sudden, they get a Lifetime Achievement Award, which is nice, They also got an MTV Lifetime Achievement Award. They're also in the Library of Congress records as one of the albums.
We're not going to recognize you while you're around, but when you're gone, we'll give you one of these Lifetime Achievement Awards.
Exactly. Poor Joey wasn't at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for that. Yeah. That's a shame. What a shame.
Dee Dee's speech at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was pretty great.
I think that was the best.
That was the best.
Well, everybody, I thank God. I thank my mother. I thank myself. Thank you, Dee Dee. What a great, I love that speech. Some people don't like it, but I think that's
if you know Dee Dee a little bit.
That's Dee Dee for you. Definitely sure. Dee Dee.
Hey, listen, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was really great. I loved having you, Monty.
My pleasure. I'm glad everybody had a good time.
Is there anybody you want to shout out or thank or anything you want to say?
No, all the Ramones fans out there, thank you very much. You've been great. And it's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Gabba gabba hey.
My pleasure, Monty. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, there you go. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, and Your Car Hardcore. Oh, there you are now. Oh, I was looking for you.
You were?
Yeah, I was going to bring you on with Monty.
I've been here the whole time.
Didn't see ya.
Fuck. I wasn't hiding.
All right. You know what? You got anything for Monty?
You know what? We could go another 2 hours. I'd be just fine. This is awesome.
I know, man. He was great, man. It's also so great to talk to someone from your clan. You know what I mean? It's just like God. Monty's from my clan. He's a Queens guy, Forest Hills. It's like, I could talk to Monty for forever.
I didn't know he was working right at the Hall of Science, right next. I work right across the street.
You were what? Oh, you're across the street is the Shea Yard.
Shea Yard, the Queens Museum, Hall of Science. It's all within like walking distance.
Isn't the Hall of Science? You know what's weird? I got to check out across the street. Do they still have those rockets?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the Hall of Science.
No, but you got to cross the walkway over the Grand Central Parkway.
Those rockets are on the property of the Hall of Science.
Oh.
Yeah, like that's right. I walk by those when I go to lunch.
Well, thank you, Gina. Drew, this was the best one. Well, thank you. Steen, thank you, Monty. You rule. That was great. Larry Kelly, thank you, Monty. I know you're still out there, Monty. Thank you, Monty, for your shared memories and wonderful stories. That was awesome, man. Yeah, that was great. So, Ryan, love you, Drew. Another total banger. Travel safe back to New York City. I'm heading back to New York tomorrow. Hey, there he is, Matt Melnick. Matt Melnick, what's up? We were talking about you, Matt Melnick. You know?
Oh, Drew.
Yeah.
If you asked about Kiss before, a couple of years back, well, probably about 10, 15 years ago now, they did a great like A-list Ramones tribute album called We're a Happy Family that had all these huge, and Kiss actually did rock and roll radio on it.
Is that right?
And they did a great version. All the guys took a verse. They all sang a different verse.
I know it wasn't a cover song, but we talked about it with Ed Stasium, who produced that Motorhead record, where they did the Romones song.
Oh, that's a classic.
And the Ramones used to play it.
Oh, I know, which I think is great.
Right? The Ramones used to rip that song.
And I love that. Not only is the cool thing about that song is CJ gets named in the song as well.
Oh, that's cool.
So, and by the way, he's a Long Island guy, and I knew CJ. He used to be in a band called Mother Night, back in the day, and I remember him coming to a club called Sparks, telling a bunch of people when he got the job with the Ramones.
Wow.
And like it was incredible.
CJ's a nice guy.
Super nice guy.
What's our next show? Lord Ezak.
That's gonna be hysterical.
Ooh. Yeah, man. Get ready for Lord Ezak, and then we have the People's Show, right?
That's right.
Good. All right, and listen, we got a couple ones in the hopper. I got to get you the info. We got to get those going.
Yep.
Yeah, its next show is Danny Diablo. Then the People's Show, which includes Reaching Out from New Jersey. Then we got Dino from Fear Factory, Chris Wren from Bridge 9 Records, then Armand from Sick of It All. And then we announced today at the end of the month, we got Toby Morse from H2O and Hazen Street. So there you go.
We're into the 70s now already.
I'm working on. I'm trying to land something great for the 75th show.
It's crazy.
Joe Ackerman says more Monty, more Ramones stories. Bring him back. Monty, we're gonna have to bring you back, man. One of these, in the future. So also I want to remind everybody that the New York Hardcore Chronicles live merchandise has been launched. It has been launched.
Get those hardcore pajamas.
Get those. No, we don't have hardcore pajamas yet. We have the shower curtain, the towel, the doggy hoodie,
socks.
We got the pillow to prop up your girl's ass.
You had to get the socks.
The socks, the New York Hardcore socks. If you need to put your foot upside someone's head, So that's it. All right, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. See everybody on Wednesday.
Okay, thanks. Well, there you go, everybody. That was a great show. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you so much for supporting the show. All my patrons around the world. Some other merchandise suggestions. Rubber sheets. Okay, there you go. The socks. Yeah, man. Pick up the socks, you bum. Hey, you're gonna need those socks because you're coming out on the walking tour pretty soon. Drew, what was the most consistently violent New York hardcore venue back in the day? Lemoore, Castle Heights, Coney Island? D, all the above. Listen, man. In my experience, I'd say I'd say Lemoore and Castle Heights. Like Lemoore had some. Lemoore was to be feared, and so was Castle Heights. It was a scary time in New York hardcore back then. It was a scary time. I didn't make masks. Enough with the masks. I don't mean New York hardcore masks, man. It's like I want to deal with that. Whenever the Marauder guys would show up, I managed Marauder, believe me, Rakim or Big Daddy Kane. There you go. So that said, I think I'm covering everything. Check out the merch. Please check out the merch. Am I forgetting everything? It's Sunday shout out day. I want to shout out everybody around the world. And thank you so much for making the show what it's become. It's just great. We have a great show. And it's really fantastic. And it's because of you. I'm just a conduit. Just a conduit to all this. Heading back to New York tomorrow. Look forward to seeing everybody. Go check out the merch. The holidays are coming up. All right. That said, be good, do good things. Good things will come to you. I'll see you on Wednesday with the international superstar himself, Lord Ezek.